Hello, welcome back. I have been very busy. It's very busy, but it's really good so far. Um, I don't know how many vlogs I'm going to be able to keep up with, but I'm going to keep trying. I don't want to make them too long, but we're learning so much that I don't know that I'm going to be able to finish them in 10 to 15 minutes. Um, but we'll see what we can get through. So I did finally get my yoga manual, my teaching manual that I have for this class. It's through the Mindfulish School. I got this printed out finally. Wednesday I have study group, so we talked more about Surya Namaskar, the sun salutations, which if you're watching any of my other videos, you'll see my first attempt at teaching and cueing that practice while I'm practicing. It was really challenging. It was really fun. I completely forgot to do the modifications during, but I was really glad that I tried, and I'm going to teach Nathan, my partner, how to do some Surya Namaskar here in a little while. So we did that, and one of the great things about these classes, by the way, it's one of the things I love about yoga classes, is we just kind of like check in with each other. Everyone's so open and vulnerable and honest, and we're all just kind of in this place to learn and grow and move forward, and like that's just not something you get in a lot of places. Like, you can go take classes at a college or wherever you're taking classes from, but people are not open about stuff, at least not in any of the classes I've been in, any experiences that I've been in. Even my yoga class in college, it was a beginner's yoga class where we learned hatha yoga. It was amazing. It's actually what introduced me to yoga and made me feel excited to learn more about it, because it was always just this thing that I thought I would be interested in but would never be able to do, because you have to be able to bend your legs behind your head, and I was like, that's not going to happen for me. But that's not even at all what yoga is. It's not the asana practice, the pose practice I've learned came way later. Yoga has always been breath work and meditation and learning to connect with the divine, aka God, aka self, energy, love, whatever you want to call it. I enjoy those last ones quite a bit, especially love. It reminds me of Steven Universe, actually. Like, every time I'm just like, the guiding force behind the universe is love. Anyway, so we also were reading, I don't have it in here, I showed you guys last time, I think, but we're learning, it's not learning, we're doing a book club about radical compassion by Tara Brach, and so we talked about that, and we only went through chapter 2 so far, but we talked about the first 2 steps of RAIN. So it's an acronym, RAIN: recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. Chapter 2 went over recognize and allow and told the story about, I can't remember the guru's name, but basically he learned how to confront a deity of darkness and lies and like all the bad negative feelings basically that you feel in yourself. Is like, this is what this thing named Mara represents. And so Mara comes to us all the time. It's every time we're feeling bad or negative or angry or disconnected and in this place called trance, which is what the book talks about, trance versus presence. And so instead of avoiding or running away or giving in to Mara, this guru turns and talks to Mara and is like, oh, let's have tea. So basically inviting Mara, aka recognizing Mara and allowing Mara to be there, because we all have feelings and we all need to deal with them, but you can't do that unless you recognize the feeling and allow it to be there, because it's okay to have those feelings. So next we're going to be reading chapter 3. I think it's just 3. It might be 3 and 4, but we're going to go over the next 2 steps of rain. So that'll be interesting. And then Friday, we learned more about different warm-up poses, which is kind of where we're focusing right now. You'll see all of my notes. But we did go over Sukhasana. We started going over Balasana as well. I think, yeah, we finished Balasana. But a lot of everything we're learning is all connected, which is, I feel like, a mark of a great lesson plan for one. And, you know, Cole and Jack just know everything that they're trying to give to us and how to connect it all together. And, you know, obviously they've been doing this for some time, so that's where my inexperience comes in, and I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit more nervous to teach because I want to be that good. I want to be able to connect all these things together, and like I'm impressed by it and I'm awed by it, and what I want is I want other people to be able to experience learning this stuff from me and then being able to apply it however they need to in their life, because it's just been so helpful for me. Yoga has been so helpful. We also did several Surya Namaskar practices, sun salutation practices. I feel like I've kind of got that down in my bones. I wouldn't say it's like 100% muscle memory now, but like I can just kind of go in and do it, and that's really impressive. I mean, I've been doing yoga practices on and off for a while. I've done tons of different types of sun salutations, because you can take like the classic, the basic of it, which I have it right here, and I can, if I can find it. There we go. So this is the one we're doing, classic sun salutation. That's the one that I did in my little training video. Like you can take and add stuff into this and make it work into your practice. And on Saturday, that's what we talked about. We did a really amazing, it felt really long. I think it was almost like an hour and a half maybe. Vinyasa flow practice, where we introduced, later we talked about it, we introduced sequencing your warm-up poses so that you can build up to a peak pose. So if you're making your yoga practice happen around a peak pose, whatever that happens to be, like it's just a very challenging, difficult pose that wouldn't be in your warm-up, you start introducing things that are gonna like stretch out the areas of the body that you need to open up and get ready to go into that peak pose. So that's sequencing to get up to that. And one of the things, sorry, that was a strange and, because I'm very sore from that class, and I just moved, and it just kind of like, whew, just hit me. But one of the things I've always noticed with yoga classes is you just kind of start like in this little foundation, and then you just work your way up, and then get to these really difficult poses and do a few rounds of stuff, and then you work your way down into a cool down, which makes sense. That's how a lot of fitness and exercises kind of work. Like you start with a warm up, and then you get up to like all your cardio or weights or whatever it is. That's like the heavy, quote unquote, lifting for your body, and then you cool yourself down. Or you should be doing cool downs and warm ups and stretches and like taking care of your body. Don't hurt yourself. I've learned that the hard way, because it was always like, that's a waste of time, but it's good. I love the stretching part of it. So anyway, we talked a little bit about that, and I thought that was funny, because I've always felt that way about yoga. It's just one of the other things about taking this class with these people, and even though it's online and doing it through Zoom with them, is that like I wonder if everyone's more open than they would be, because we kind of have this safety of being in our own place. Either way, I think it's phenomenal that we can be that open with one another. But it's also nice because like you don't feel so alone. You know that everyone thinks some similar way than what you think about it. Maybe they don't have the exact same thoughts that I'm having about it, but they kind of get there in a different way, and I'm like, that's I understand. I resonate with that. That is so cool. Yeah, so we did warm-ups, sequencing, and kind of practiced going through that and like how we would do that. That's part of my homework this week, actually. And the other thing we did, I forgot, Friday we talked about the history of yoga. I didn't mention that. So we did talk about quite a bit of that. I'm more interested in that than I feel like I've gotten, but we're going to have more on that. We're going to have a guest teacher come in and talk about more history and Sanskrit, and I'm excited about that. And they're going to talk more about the Bhagavad Gita, which I've finally finished reading. It was amazing. I may have already showed you, but I highly recommend that if you're interested in any of this at all. But it is a lot to unpack, so we're going to have a guest teacher on that, and I'm also excited about that. I literally just had it open to this. Here we go. So we started talking about energetic anatomy, which starts with the chakras. So lots of notes on what the chakras are, which is just their wheels of energy in our body. Like when you see that picture of, if you type in yoga and chakras on Google, you're going to find a picture of like a person sitting there and like the 7 colorful chakras going up through the line in their body. There's more than 7 chakras in our body. There's thousands, but the main 7 are the ones that we're going to focus on. And we started talking about Muladhara. I think I've pronounced that correctly. Muladhara, which is root. So the root chakra, which is your foundation, your base. And I just did some journaling on that for a homework as well. But it's really interesting because like some of the imbalances, like if your root chakra is not in balance in your body, some things that you could be dealing with is digestion issues, constipation, because it's all related to, you can't see what I'm doing, but it's like here down. It's not necessarily like reproductive or anything, but it's digestion down. Knee troubles, not feeling at home in your body, which I feel like a lot of people deal with that. I feel like this connection to technology and phones and focusing in like right here, I do that a lot. Like I get it, I understand, but I'm gonna date myself. So I was born in 86. So I have experienced like no technology in my house other than like TVs going, and even like my grandparents even had rotary phones. So like I've dealt with, I didn't know how to use them. It was very confusing to me. But there were payphones around everywhere that we used, and there's like none around here anymore. But I watched technology just kind of change around me and become more, and then you could have computers at home and then dial-up internet, and just I experienced all those changes. I grew with all those changes. And so I remember, I played a lot of video games growing up. My family had like Super Nintendo and PlayStation, and my dad had Game Boys. I got to play those. We had the regular Nintendo, like the original, and then the SNES. So I've played with a lot of video games, but like I didn't focus on that. It wasn't like this huge focus in my life. And so I've watched the difference, like the changes and all of that, and part of it is also growing up and being an adult, but I definitely feel the difference from childhood to adulthood, and the things I focus on, and just that sense of loss. And I think a lot of people just think, well, that's just a loss of innocence. I'm no longer a child. I think some of that's accurate, but I think a lot of it too is we just disconnect ourselves from our foundations, our root chakra. The things that are very valuable and important to us, like our bodies. Our bodies are very important. Nature, being grounded to the earth is very important. Family, connections, support systems. So a lot of that, that's focused with your root chakra. So it was an interesting journaling situation. But that's mostly, I think that kind of covers everything that I've like gone through. I have a Discord with my small group, because we have a study group and a small group. The small group is just a few of us. The study group has a teacher leading it, where we go over some additional stuff that we didn't have time to for the weekend, or just kind of check in, it seems, so far. But I have a Discord with my small group, and we've been talking about our book club, basically, and the different things that we're doing, and all my practices I've been recording, I've been posting there, and they've been in participating in some of that and doing some of their own, and so it's been very fun. And while I did just mention all that stuff about technology, I think being kind of a burden, at the same time it's super amazing, because we would not be able to do this in the midst of a pandemic, where we can still learn from one another and support one another. So it's fun, connected. So alright, well, I think that's all I have for you today. So I'm gonna go do some more homework, and then get to go eat some cinnamon raisin English bread that I just made with Nathan. So yay! Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Happy Easter if you're enjoying Easter, or Bunny Day on Animal Crossing. I am gonna go play that. That's gonna be fun. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful week, and be kind to yourself.